Imagine waking up, and everything just flows. You feel light, clear, like you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Your day just happens, easily, gracefully. But sometimes, the tiniest, most beautiful flicker in your own home can quietly block that flow. It's not a big, scary monster. It's something you might walk past every single day without a second thought. Like a forgotten light, or a hidden shadow stubbornly holding on to old, tired energy. It's subtle, but it's there, whispering, holding things back. Let me tell you what I saw with my own eyes. In a little tucked-away corner of an old European study. It totally changed how I looked at my own space. You know those old studies or dens? The kind that feel like they've seen 1,000 stories, literally crammed with dusty old books, antique furniture that probably has its own secrets, and maybe even that faint, sweet smell of aged paper. My great-uncle Alistair's study, in a sprawling, historic house nestled deep in the English countryside, was exactly like that. It always felt a bit stuffy, you know? Not like physically dusty, but more like the air was just incredibly thick with unspoken thoughts, with old, heavy ideas that just hung in the atmosphere, even when all the grand, ancient windows were wide open on a lovely, breezy day. It was almost suffocating, in a strange, quiet way. It looked totally harmless, of course. Just a proper, dignified place for quiet contemplation, perhaps a bit of reading or writing. But I just couldn't shake off this feeling that something intangible was living there. Something really, really old, kind of lingered and breathed in that very specific small space. Like it was the quiet keeper of countless generations' stories, yes, but also of a certain deep, persistent heaviness that just wouldn't lift. It was like the room itself was holding its breath. Before we dive in, take a quick look around your own space. Do you feel any of that lingering heaviness? Keep that in mind as we go. You know that feeling, right? When you wake up and something just feels off, like you're dragging your feet through the day, or things just aren't clicking into place like they should. It's like you're trying to push water uphill, and it's just exhausting. You're genuinely trying your best, putting in the effort, but everything feels like a constant struggle, a really tough uphill battle. Ugh, it's the absolute worst, isn't it? Well, in so many old European stories and ancient wisdom, this idea of things not flowing smoothly, it's not always some big, dramatic problem that screams for attention. Oh no, it's much more subtle, much more insidious than that. It often just whispers to you, showing up in these tiny, almost unnoticeable ways, gently nudging you to see where things might be stuck. Or maybe where some really precious, good stuff has just been completely forgotten about or pushed aside over time. And the wildest thing is, what usually blocks this good, easy flow, it's almost always something we put there ourselves, right? Like, without even a second thought. It's not just a physical barrier, it's an energetic one. Think about it. Those dirty dishes left in the sink overnight. They're not just messy, they're stagnant energy. A symbol of unfinished business and decay that just sits there, radiating tiredness. That dark, forgotten corner in your living room. It's usually piled high with old stuff, or maybe just a space where light never reaches. These become energy traps, collecting dust, literally gathering bad vibes and preventing fresh, positive energy from circulating. Your main entrance blocked by shoes and clutter. This one is huge. Your front door is literally the mouth of chi for your home, how all good opportunities and fresh energy walk right in. If it's blocked, messy, or dark, you're essentially putting up a giant do not enter sign for good fortune. It's like we accidentally put up these little invisible barriers, and then we're left scratching our heads, wondering why on earth everything suddenly feels so heavy and hard, or why opportunities seem to pass us by. And once I kind of tuned into that, once I really truly noticed how these little everyday things could build up and choke the energy, wow, I just couldn't unsee it anymore. It was like a giant light bulb went off in my head, especially when I went to visit my friend Chloe in her new little apartment in Paris. Boy, was that an eye-opener. So, my friend Chloe, she'd just moved into this charming but tiny apartment in Paris. It had good light, character. Nothing really wrong with it on paper. But from the moment she moved in, she kept saying her apartment just felt stagnant. Not like scary stagnant or haunted stagnant. Nope, just heavy. Like the air itself hadn't moved in years, even when all her beautiful French windows were wide open on a breezy day. She'd try to clean, try to rearrange things, but that feeling just lingered, a low hum of unease. She'd wake up feeling tired, even after a full night's sleep. Little things at work would constantly go wrong, especially her creative projects. She just felt stuck, like she was walking through thick mud. She kept blaming her demanding job, or the overwhelming city life, or just general adulting burnout. But I kept thinking back to that feeling in my great uncle's study, that subtle block. And then it hit me. It wasn't some big, dramatic problem. It wasn't her job, or even the general clutter she had. It was a combination of everyday, overlooked energy blockers. First, her kitchen sink was almost always piled high with dirty dishes. Not just a plate or two, but sometimes stacks from a whole day, left soaking overnight. That kitchen, the heart of the home, just reeked of stagnant, unfinished business. Then, there was this tiny dark corner in her living room, behind an armchair, where old magazines and forgotten boxes had piled up. It was literally a dust bunny haven, a little energy black hole that felt incredibly heavy. And finally, her main entrance. You know, the place that's supposed to welcome all good things. It was often cluttered with shoes, overflowing bags, and even a pile of unread mail on a small table. It was completely blocking the natural, welcoming energy of her home, without her ever even realizing it. Like a little dam holding back a sparkling stream. And man, that got me thinking. This wasn't just about surface tidiness. This was something way deeper, something truly ancient. It was about how everyday habits and neglected spaces could hold energy, for better or worse. And it reminded me of something very old, something about the profound power of a clear, flowing home. You know, this whole idea that your home kind of breathes, that how things are arranged, or what you leave lying around, can seriously affect your luck or your overall well-being. That's not just some trendy New Age concept that popped up yesterday. Oh no, not at all. Ancient cultures, literally all over the world, even right here in Europe, they totally knew about this. They truly, deeply believed their homes weren't just simple buildings with four walls and a roof. They had a kind of life force, a powerful flow of energy that could either bring you incredible good stuff or, well, kind of drag you down and block your path. They were super intuitive about these things. And what's super fascinating is how incredibly practical their wisdom was in using everyday routines to help that flow. They understood that stagnant energy, left unchecked, would become a literal magnet for bad vibes. Think about the simple act of keeping your space clear. It wasn't just about tidiness. For centuries, across Europe, practices from the meticulous cleanliness of Dutch homes to the ancient Roman belief in sweeping away evil spirits emphasized that a clear space was a clear mind and a clear path for good fortune. They understood that places where waste accumulated, or where light couldn't reach, or where pathways were blocked, would literally fester with negativity. But here's the kicker, the part that's truly shameful in our modern homes today. We've often completely overlooked that deep, ancient, almost instinctive understanding of energy in our homes. We let our sinks pile high with dirty dishes, creating literal pools of stagnant energy. We ignore those dark, dusty corners where old things just accumulate, becoming black holes for positive flow. And worst of all, we clutter our main entrances, the very mouth of chi for our homes, with shoes, bags, and junk, effectively putting up a huge "do not enter" sign for blessings and opportunities. Can you believe it? We've totally forgotten their true purpose of a clear, flowing home. It's like having a treasure map and only using it as a placemat while blocking the entrance to the treasure cave. So, the big question is, how do we bring back that ancient respect for the pure, undeniable power of a clear, flowing home? How do we let it truly cleanse our modern spaces and genuinely invite in better flow, more abundance, and clear energy without turning our homes into some dusty old museum, or feeling like we're doing some weird, complex ritual? It's easier than you think. So, what did Chloe actually do to finally shake things up in her flat? Well, you might be thinking she had to call in some expensive expert, or tear down walls, or buy a whole new set of super fancy furniture, right? Absolutely not. That's truly the coolest part about tapping into this kind of ancient wisdom. It's almost never about huge, drastic, complicated changes that make your head spin. It's often about those small, incredibly intentional acts that, surprisingly, create the biggest ripple effect. All she really focused on was those 3 key energy blockers we talked about. Her dirty dishes, that dark, forgotten corner, and her cluttered main entrance. First, she tackled the immediate mess right in her kitchen. She made a new, unbreakable rule for herself. Never leave dirty dishes in the sink overnight. Every single night, no matter how tired she was, those dishes got washed and put away, or at the very least, loaded into the dishwasher. The immediate feeling of relief and cleanliness was instant, like a fresh breath for her kitchen. The stagnant energy literally drained away with the dirty water. Next, she turned her attention to that gloomy, stagnant corner, the one that used to feel like a black hole. She gave it a really, really good clean, dusting away years of forgotten energy and old dust bunnies. She didn't buy anything new. She simply made sure it was clear and bright. She added a small, focused lamp there, or even just made sure to open the curtains wide to let natural light flood in during the day. This simple act of bringing light and order to a dark, hidden space was unbelievably powerful. Finally, she made sure her main entrance was always clear and welcoming. No more shoes piled up, no more junk mail or random bags blocking the path. She created a clear, open invitation for positive energy to flow right into her home. Honestly, she didn't really expect anything dramatic or instant to happen. She just thought, hey, why not give it a try? What have I got to lose? It can't hurt, right? She just let these small changes work their magic, quietly doing their thing in her once overlooked apartment. But the apartment, oh my goodness, the apartment totally responded. In its own wonderfully subtle, gentle way, almost like it had been holding its breath for ages and could finally, blissfully, sigh in relief. You are seriously not going to believe what happened next. Just a mere few days later, after Chloe had consistently cleared her sink, brightened her dark corner, and kept her entrance clear, can you even imagine? A new gallery owner, who she'd admired for ages, suddenly, out of the blue, emailed her. They were interested in seeing her portfolio, opening up a huge, super exciting opportunity for her art that had seemed completely out of reach. It wasn't direct money yet, sure, but oh my goodness, it arrived exactly when she needed it most, like a perfect, unexpected little gift from out of nowhere, a real stroke of luck. Mini hook. And it wasn't just about the opportunities, oh no, not at all. Chloe told me with this amazed look on her face that her sleep had gotten so much deeper, unbelievably deeper. She stopped waking up with that nagging, underlying feeling of restlessness and tiredness that had been plaguing her for what seemed like forever. It was like she'd finally found a proper off switch for her constantly buzzing mind. Mini twist. She'd just sleep right through the night, completely undisturbed, waking up feeling incredibly light, utterly refreshed, and genuinely ready to tackle the day. She couldn't remember the last time she'd felt so genuinely well-rested. She even told me, "The apartment, it just feels like it's breathing a huge, contented sigh of relief now, you know? It's wild. The air inside just feels cleaner, noticeably lighter, somehow more vibrant and alive. It's so strange," she admitted, but she felt way more settled, more grounded, like she was truly ready to confidently face whatever came her way in life. That old, heavy, stagnant feeling? Poof. Completely, utterly gone. He was replaced by a quiet sense of possibility and creative inspiration. Transition. And maybe, just maybe, that's where true wealth really begins. Not with desperately chasing more, but with your personal space finally moving freely, finally breathing easily, and genuinely allowing good things to flow right back into your life. So, maybe it's not just about all the things crammed into your space. It's truly about the way those things, or even those forgotten customs, are either holding on to energy, or worse, holding it back. It's about letting your home truly breathe. If you feel that subtle heaviness too, that quiet sense of something being a little bit stuck in your own space, it's time to take action. Tonight, make sure your kitchen sink is sparkling clean, declutter that dark corner near your main entrance, and ensure your doorway is completely clear. Feel the shift and share your experience in the comments below.